Senaze, good evening.
Bonsoir Julien Beth, good evening to you televiewers. Thanks for joining us in this edition of the 8 p.m. bilingual newscast on EQUINOXE television, where I'll be telling you how the entire marché Congo here in Douala has been razed to ashes. That was by white flames that occurred, according to sources, at midnight yesterday. And we equally be telling you in this edition of the newscast how official results of round one of the presidential election of Senegal that took place this Sunday will be known. That will be Friday. These are 6.5 million Senegalese went to the polls today to cast their votes. Once more, Julien, and to you viewers, thanks for staying with us. We begin by telling you how white flames have ravished the entire marché Congo here in Douala. The sources say the fire generated today, that was as early as midnight. By the time some curious men, 13 in number, deployed themselves to the scene, only 4 shops were on fire and no rescue soldier was present. Initially, they did not imagine it was the Congo markets that was on flames. Sources add that over 50 shops were razed, as well as some surrounding houses. At about 2 getting to 3 a.m., the rescue team that later arrived was surmounted by the flames. They were compelled to call for reinforcements that included the National Gendarmerie. Enormous loss worth hundreds of million francs CFA has been incurred by the affected traders who were present at the burnt marché Congo site this morning. We now take you to Nkongsamba in the Mungo division of the Littoral region to tell you how the district hospital has benefited from an ambulance van that has so far been lacking to transport accidental patients with injuries to the health facility. Most of the patients have complained that the absence of this ambulance has caused them to suffer enormously to deploy themselves to the health facility for treatment. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
In Cameroon, many rural areas are suffering with low emergency service providers, which in some cases has led to the death of some patients. The primary role of any ambulance service is to provide easy access to health care services during emergency situations. But the lack of this health care service in some hospitals is the reason why Bion Pierre is seated on this wheelchair today. He was involved in a ghastly road accident at the National Road number 5, but the availability of an ambulance to provide him first aid care was unobtainable.
Sur la nationale numéro 5, lieu dit Monteferry.
I was involved in an accident along the National Road number 5. While riding my bike, I was knocked down by a bus, making me go unconscious. I was carried to the Kongsamba Regional Hospital. While there, I was in need of piles of blood. Unfortunately for me, it was unavailable. I was asked to be transferred to the St. John of Mata Hospital in Jombe. Sadly for me, there was no ambulance in the hospital to transport me. Like him, there are many others forced to use other means of transportation during emergency periods.
C'est l'un de mes différents séjours au Cameroun, j'ai vu des enfants qui transportaient leur maman.
During my visit in Cameroon, I saw a child transporting his sick mother in a wheelbarrow. I was shocked by the situation. I asked the child to give me his mother's contact. The following day, I called the child to check on his mother's health, and he told me the mother died while on their way to the regional hospital.
Choqué, bouleversé, je me suis dit non, là il faut faire quelque chose. Quand je suis retourné en France,
in a bid of resolving the problems faced by the population, elites of this locality offered an ambulance to the Kongsamba Regional Hospital. The gift was received by the population and staff of the medical corps with a lot of excitement and relief. The director of the hospital used the opportunity to thank all those who contributed for the purchase of the ambulance and ensure them that it will effectively accomplish its purpose. However, the needs of the regional hospital in Konsamba still remains enormous.
And civil society actors in Cameroon and those from the diaspora conversed over the weekend here in Douala. During the gathering, they condemned the continuous violence, killings, arbitrary arrest and detention of civilians in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The civil society actors called on governments to wisely handle the crisis for peace to return for a once more united and stable Cameroon. They equally condemned the political tension that continues ravaging Cameroon and giving it a negative public image. And amongst the civil society actors who conversed here in the nation's economic capital, Douala, is a stand-up for Cameroon who dress in black as their usual Friday tradition. They say women in the northwest and southwest regions of the country have been suffering enormously as a result of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. They are calling on governments of Cameroon to quickly solve the crisis such that these vulnerable groups are free. Take a listen.
We are women of the northwest and southwest regions. We are members of Stand Up for Cameroon and victims of the problems in the northwest and southwest. My name is Kwa Elizabeth.
My name is Kamelane. Our families are in the bushes. We are learning what we had never heard of before. We are the refugees and IDPs. We dance to the drumbeats of gunshots. We, as women, have learned to bury the dead. Our markets and our farms are empty. Feeding our children is a daily challenge. Our children have forgotten what a classroom looks like for more than 2 years.
Are you blind to our pain and sufferings? Are we from the northwest and southwest really your brothers and sisters? We are tired of burying our children in mass graves, tired of hiding in houses and bushes for most of us, tired of violence in the morning, violence in the afternoon, violence at night. Yesterday was burning villages in Kwakwa, Nake, Bole, now hospitals in Kumba. We are tired. We have come here today to ask you to join us to put an end to this violence. We have come here today to ask you to come and stand beside us. Raise your voice with us. Shout with us. Act with us. Stand and act until we put an end to the killing and dying. Stand up and act until we put an end to the violence. Stand up and act until the army and the armed groups have put down their guns.
And as calls from the national and international community keep streaming in for governments to resolve the Anglophone crisis for peace to reign, a civil society actor Kwa Elizabeth says governments of Cameroon has paid deaf ears and has allowed the situation to escalate today. Take a listen to the civil society actor.
The government of Cameroon has failed. And if we don't go into a dialogue, they will fail and even fail the citizens. Because if you find a government where appointed ministers, about 50 of them are in prison, you find a government that starts a stadium on the day they are coming for football, you find a government that declares war on its own citizens. We have all gone into bushes, and we believe that if the government can help us, the dialogue table is ready. Seseko Ayoko and then Paul Biya are all here. So these two people can dialogue and talk to the armed groups and the armed force to drop their guns, and we go on a peace table.
And in news out of the country, about 6.5 million Senegalese went to the polls today to cast their vote to elect a new president. Incumbent President Macky Sall faces 4 other aspirants. Polling stations opened at 8 a.m. and closed at 6 p.m. Macky Sall casts his votes at a polling station in Fatick as he seeks to win in the first round of the West African country's ballot. Macky Sall is seeking a second term in office. Official results of the first round are due out on Friday, with a runoff for the top 2 on March 24 if no one secures a majority. And in Nigeria, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called on the incumbent president, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, rather INEC, to immediately announce results as delivered from the polling units and declare its candidates, Atiku Abubakar, the winner of the February 23rd presidential election of Nigeria. The party said its position is predicted on clear and veritable results across the nation, showing that its candidate is in clear lead both in spread and total number of votes cast. The ruling All Progressive Congress APC had earlier today called on security forces to arrest a spokesman for Atiku Abubakar, Buba Galadiba, claiming that the opposition party is asked to create crisis by announcing fake results showing Atiku as winner of the election. And that's it for this edition of the 8 p.m. Bilingual Newscast. Thanks so much for watching. Do have a splendid evening. Julien Bert, bonsoir.
Je vous souhaite de passer également une agréable soirée innocente Azé. Mesdames et messieurs, c'est la fin de cette édition bilingue du journal. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres.